Okay, allow me a couple of minutes to talk about Ryan Coogler's movie Sinners. I missed it in the theater because of the NBA playoffs, which are the most grueling stretch of the year for me. So over the weekend, I watched Sinners in two sittings, or maybe I should say two runnings while I was on the treadmill. I hope I can explain this correctly to you, but I loved and I hated Sinners. I loved it because when Ryan Coogler applies his genius to a film, I just won't have any choice but to love it. He is that gifted. Fruitvale, Creed, the Black Panthers, and now Sinners. Gifted. I love Sinners because if I get a double shot of Michael B. Jordan unleashing his raw screen power, and Michael B. plays two twin brothers, I'm going to double love it. I love Sinners because of the brilliant melding of two very different genres, the plight of black people in 1932 Mississippi and vampires? Wait, vampires river dancing? Trust me, Ryan Coogler's screenplay just, so to speak, sucks you in. Not once did I think this is silly or this is hokey. Didn't have time to doubt it because Sinners just grabs you by the throat that will probably get bitten. And how can you not love anything that has Delroy Lindo in it? He steals, 6 or 8 scenes in Sinners with that wise, cool patter of his. And I get to see Michael B. Jordan blow away, 40 or 50 Klansmen, including the big, fat, tobacco-spitting leader. And then just when I thought Sinners was over, I got a bonus scene, a postscript 60 years later in Chicago, featuring the great Buddy Guy, the real Buddy Guy, that guy, who's visited in the club by vampire Michael B. and vampire Haley Steinfeld. Huh? Knocked me right off my chair, or in this case, off the treadmill. What? Just breakthrough filmmaking. Thank you, Mr. Coogler. Yet, I must admit, when Sinners ended, I felt battered, bludgeoned and battered by white guilt. Look, Sinners has no use for white people, nor should it. The prevailing metaphor, of course, is that evil, devious white people tricked black people and sucked their blood and turned them into something they weren't meant to be. The evil white vampires wrecked the juke joint life that the black people were building thanks to the money provided by the twin brothers who had gone up against the Chicago mob and lived to tell about it and returned home. So, who's the first member of the black community to defy and betray the brothers? Well, it's the woman played by Mrs. Josh Allen Haley Steinfeld, who appears in Sinners to be, I think, biracial. She obviously has some white blood, which obviously prevails and leads her and in turn the black community to ruin. So if you followed my career at all, you probably know I've fought with all my might against racial injustice in this country. I've told this story before, so I'll be brief here. I was so blessed to have been mostly raised by a black woman who was far more of a mother and a teacher to me than my mother was, my real mother. Everything I know about right and wrong, I learned from Katie Bell Henderson, who worked for my grandmother, who traveled for her work. And I'm sure some black people say, oh, it's the help. But trust me, there was no plantation mentality operating at my grandmother's. Katie Bell ran that household with an iron fist, unquestioned iron fist. My home was broken, so I spent a lot of time at my grandmother's. I grew up in Oklahoma City. Katie Bell grew up in rural Alabama, though, like Michael B's character, she had spent many years working in Chicago, where her son and grandkids lived. My soul aches when I have to watch what white people did to black people in the Deep South in the 1930s and any other form of that. I know all about it. I don't know how to fix it. Obviously, I can't fix it. And after a while, it's just hard to watch. For me, it's hard to watch. I didn't participate in it. I didn't contribute to it. Yet, I still feel so deeply guilty about it because of the color of my skin. Sinners just ultimately beat me over the head with that guilt. I don't usually find vampire movies all that scary, but for me, Sinners is psychological horror. After a while, I just wasn't sure I could take much more of it, as great as it was. But hey, Buddy Guy looming up on the screen out of nowhere in the end, that saved it for me. For that, Mr. Coogler, I thank you.